What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are at about 1.142 cents right now. Not moving up a whole lot, moving up a little bit, but we're just chilling, right? Moving sideways, being boring. This is kind of exactly what we were expecting to happen. To be completely fair, I am calling for a move that will go up above 1.2 cents or at least around there, if not all the way up to about 1.5 cents. I mean, it could be crazy, man. It could be crazy. I don't know. The more that I'm drawing this, the more that I'm like, is that really going to happen? But we've seen these kind of moves happen before in this area. So I mean, like literally from this area to here, we went all the way up to 1.5 cents. So could we do it? Yeah, we can. We can do more than that for sure. I don't know how big it's going to be, but something that's a little bit bigger than what we've experienced basically since this move back here in the beginning of March, a couple weeks ago there. I think we'll see something kind of big to the upside. It'll be a suckers rally, a relief rally on the ultimate path downward. But if it goes high enough, I think that could absolve us of seeing lower lows than this, right? And this is important, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. None of what I say has to happen. I can be wrong, and I could be way wrong. I could be a little bit wrong, slightly right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like who cares? If we're all the way up here, and we're going to drop what I think the average altcoin drops. It's going to be a 20 to 30% drop for the average altcoin. So if you drop here 20 to 30%, the chances of going below that low are still there, but they're less likely. And if you were to drop more than the average altcoin, maybe you drop all the way down to these areas we were expecting anyways. It could still happen, but it's just less likely to happen. But we'd have to get all the way up to 1.5 cents. Now, if we're at a 20%, 25% drop, let's just put that right in the middle. If you went all the way up to like 1.3 cents, you're still going lower. If you go all the way up to 1.4 cents, you're basically getting a double bottom, right? And that's if you see about an average move, let alone if you see something a little bit bigger. Of course, you could see something that's a little bit less, but I like to be pessimistic on the drops. That way we can be pleasantly surprised. I also like to be pessimistic on the upside sometimes because I like to be pleasantly surprised there as well. Some people are like, how are you pessimistic on the upside? You think it's going to go to 20 cents? Well, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I think 20 cents is scraping the bottom of the barrel. I keep saying 20 cents because I do want to be pleasantly surprised. I don't think we actually stop at 20 cents, you guys, but we'll see. We could. It's a very possible area to stop at depending on the price of Bitcoin and how fast we move up. If this thing gets a leg up on Bitcoin before Bitcoin really starts to recover, yeah, we could stop at 20 cents. The XCN BTC chart is what gives it away, right? And we'll go over this again later just to refresh anybody's memories because some people seem to think XCN is bearish, but man, versus Bitcoin, it's bullish as hell, right? Versus Bitcoin, it's bullish as hell. Versus the dollar, it's bullish as hell, and that's a good combination to have right there. So I don't know how people can say that it's bearish, but we'll get into that in a second. A little bit higher would absolve us. Not a little bit higher, but we need to see a nice move, something probably above 1.4 cents to consider absolving us below these lows here. The reason why I'm focusing on this so much is that I had a lot of people tell me throughout this range that they sold at the bottom range, and that's fine. That's up to you. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You do what's best for yourself, and if it works out, great. I'm glad you didn't listen to me. I'm glad that you did your own thing and you made more money because of it. That's awesome, right? That's kind of the goal, right? You want to try and get as much money as you can out of this market, but you don't want to be too greedy, right? Trying to make moves all the time. And whenever you start to connect these dots, you'll become a better investor and a better trader. The more buying and selling that you do, any buy, any sell that you do, no matter what it is, inherently adds more risk, whether it's an opportunity cost or it's a potential loss that you could be ensuing, right? The more that you buy and sell, the more risk you add inherently. It doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what your skill levels are. The more that you play the game, the more likely you're going to lose. That's all I'm saying, right? The more likely you play the game, the more likely you're going to lose. Now, if you know how to lose, it's not a problem. That's not a problem. That inherent risk that goes up, it's inevitable. But when you lose, you know how to lose, so you're fine. But if you don't know how to lose, you only know how to win. Whenever it is, you could win 9 times in a row. But again, inherently, every time you buy and sell, you're getting closer. It's like Russian roulette. One of these times, it's going to pull, and whenever that hits, if you don't know how to handle it, maybe it's a little less dramatic than Russian roulette. But if you don't know how to handle it, then likely what happens is you will lose all the money that you made in your 9 successful trades in a row, your 5 successful trades in a row, your 20 successful trades in a row. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. So all I'm trying to say by this is anybody who's sold down here, you're effectively selling the lowest prices of this range while we are starting to diverge away from this downtrend that we've been in, right? We're starting to, I mean, you can see it with your eyes. It's no doubt here. There is something different going on here, right? We're moving sideways versus, I mean, obviously we are moving down. Maybe it's more obvious on a daily time frame. You can kind of see we're not moving down at the same pace that we once were, right? From all these highs here coming down, we are diverging out a little bit. We even found support and we're diverging out. Now, I still expect that we're going to come back down. We'll probably crash down and hit this line for support. As of now, if we did that tomorrow, that'd be at 0.0098. If we did this around, ooh, this might be a good help. Yeah, right around like April 2nd, March 31st. Hey, that's 0087. That's kind of nice. That's at the lower ends of that range. Yeah, maybe something below 009. If I had to guess which way I think we're going to go, is this the low, or are we going to go down here? I would say we're probably going to go down here. But even with that, I'm not selling my coins because I can be wrong. I can be wrong. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is the more that you buy and sell, the more that you're coming close to that opportunity when you are wrong. And to me, simply put, in this perspective, being right over this is not worth being wrong. That's not even close to what we're doing, right? It's not worth being wrong for this, right? Risk versus reward. And it's not going to move up like this, just however it moves up, whatever. It could be by the end of June. It could be sometime at the end of May. It could be in April. Who knows? If this thing wants to move up, it can move up. It can do a 20x, 21x in 2 weeks. We've seen that happen before. It can do great things, man. It's only got more recognition now than it had before. More belief, more people convicted in buying down here at these areas in the land of the rising sun. Thank you, Justin Sun. A lot of people talk smack about him, but we love him over here, man. He talked smack about XCN for a second, and he got on board the next second. He literally took it all back. He's like, this thing's a scam. I take it all back. I want in on this scam. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You never know, right? And that's why it's important to have your basket spread out, your eggs in more than one basket, not just all in one. Right? This is my biggest hold personally, but it's not my only hold. I have a bunch of different cryptos that I'm holding, because even if the worst thing happens ever, I'm still in the game, right? And that's important. You can't make money if you're out of the game, man. And you can't make money, exactly that point. You can't make money if you're out of the game. So if you sold down here, again, what you're doing effectively is you're saying, okay, even though I believe in this, I want to squeeze this. I don't, this is nice, but I'm going to try to get this little move here. It's just not worth it to me. It's not worth that inherent risk that's going to be added, even though very much I do believe it's going to happen. I do believe we're going to go lower, but, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I don't think this is the right time to sell. I think it's a perfect area to buy, if anything, right? Play this mental game with yourself. If you were perfect, if you were some kind of financial guru, technical analysis guru, and you sold up here, you bought here, down here, and you sold up here. You did it perfectly, and you haven't bought back yet. Would you not at least be tempted to buy some down here? Would you think about shorting it at these prices? Probably not. You'd think about getting back in, right? Play that mental game with yourself. Be honest with yourself. The only reason why you want to play this short-term shit right now is because you either didn't sell down here or you bought around here and it continued to go down. You want to do that to make up for something wrong that you did wrong, right? It's not wrong. It's just non-ideal. Right? You got to get over that. You got to get over yourself. And who am I to say it? Do whatever you want. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but just don't. It's not good practice to sell the lows. Take it from somebody who's done it before and missed out on plenty of opportunities. And the one time that I ever saw something anywhere near a 100x in my life was whenever I didn't play the game at all, and all I did was buy more. Right? That's it. So I'm just saying, if you want 100x, you can't sell at a 20x. You can't. You can if you sell and you dip back in. If you kill it, you probably back in right now even. But you can't sell the lows. It maybe is a better way to say it. You can't sell the lows. But do whatever you want. If you sell here, again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I bet it works out, honestly. But it's just not worth it to me. Even though I bet it works out, and I believe that, I'm convicted in my own plays, it's not worth it. It's just not. It's not even close to worth it, man. It's really not. And this is a very, very possible area. We're going to get into that right now, okay? So if we're looking at this here from a high, actually, no, we don't have the low there. So let's go on a different chart. Crypto here. We could probably use, no, we'll use this chart. Weekly time frame. From this high here to this low there. 2618 is right where we stopped, right? From the all-time high to the all-time low, right? I doubt that we stop. I really do doubt that we stop at 9 cents. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all that we'd stop there. Maybe we find some turbulence there, as we have, we found turbulence here. We found turbulence even for like 4 days right in this area here. We could find turbulence right around 10 cents. It makes sense. It's a nice psychological area. It makes sense, but I think that we'd go higher. Even if we don't, going from 1.1 cents to 10 cents, That's great, guys. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. Okay, if you bought at the high and you bought at 4.5 cents, going from 4.5 cents to 10 cents, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's still good gains. Okay, it's just not what we are wanting. Okay, and hopefully, if you bought at 4.5 cents, you've been buying on the way down. You didn't just sell out. But anything can happen, man. The people that buy the top, they're normally tourists, right? They're here for the pump and they're not here for the dump, or they get a taste of the dump and they sell out quick. But if you're still here and you bought at the top, let us know in the comments. And there's no shame there, man. That's tenacity, if anything. That's something maybe to be proud of. Is that not that you bought the top, you made a wrong decision, but you at least didn't complete the thought. You didn't buy the high and sell the low, right? It's okay to buy the high. It's not okay to buy the high and sell the low. Is it ideal to buy the high? No. But I'm getting off on a whole different topic here. I'm philosophical today for whatever reason. If we're not going to stop here, if we're not going to stop at 10 cents, and it's not the 886, it's not the 3113. If we're not stopping here, where's the next area? Well, the next area is at 18 cents. 18 cents, and by this fib, it'd actually be 20 to 26 cents. That's actually where we would stop at. 20 to 26 cents, 18 to 26 cents, something in that area. Okay, so that's our kind of minimum target destination. Let's put some lines here. We'll get that right there, and then we'll get that right there at the 100 level, right at the all-time high there. Okay. The only next area to consider, really, would be all the way up here at about 90 cents, but I don't think we're going to go up there. Now, we are dealing with some things that are a bit outside the norms for me, because I do expect that we are going to stop between the 100 and the 1272, so that's a little bit outside the norms. Where's the 113? I don't normally talk about the 113, but maybe we can do it in this one instance here. 113. Did I do that wrong? Oh, yeah, I did do that wrong. My bad. Why is it 1320? That's not, is that what I did? I didn't do that. 1320. That's not, it's just rounding. I don't know. 1.13. My bad. There we go. So that'd be at 37 cents. Now I could see that happening. That's a good maximum target. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. Okay. And the 3113 or the 1113, the 113. Damn it. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. It's not the most reliable fib in my opinion. It's good if you're counting on like a fake out high or something like that. But I digress. I don't want to get into it. These are the target areas. I hope it makes sense as to why. Now we're going to try and further make sense out of this by the way of the XCN BTC chart. Now I'm doing a lot of assuming here. We'll see how well these assumptions are. But if we look at the XCN BTC chart, we do have lower lows in the weekly RSI. We're around the 50 area. This is a prime area to bounce. Why do I say that? Well, I mean, it was a prime area to reject. Prime area to reject here. Do you respect the 52 at T? Not really, but you can go a little bit through it and still show respect, right? You can bounce below the 50, and that's still like a bounce off the 50 area. Some charts are pretty damn precise, pinpoint accurate. Some are a little bit more general. But I think there's no question. You'd have to be delusional to call this formation here anything but a bull flag, right? It's a bull flag. It's clear as day. It's the most perfect looking bull flag that I've seen in my entire life. It's literally beautiful. We're at this area in the weekly RSI where it makes sense to bounce. You have lower lows here, higher lows there. Look it up. What's lower lows in the oscillator versus higher lows in the price mean? Look that quote up exactly, and they will say hidden bullish divergence. It's a good thing, right? Good thing with a good pattern means good things to come, probably, if this is a bull flag, and I think that it is. First off, before we get into that, let's take the high. And look, oh, that's not the high. Come on now. Right to a T. Look back and look to the left. Did we stop here? No. Why did we stop there? There's no significance. Did we stop here? Well, kind of. We had a little wick here in this area, kind of, but it's really not that significant of an area. But it's compared to from this high to this low, that's the most significant area that we had. And make no mistake, on a daily time frame, maybe a 3-day time frame would better represent it. We did have a little pause right in this area. You can see if you look at this area over here, it connects at the high. It stopped right in this area. Isn't it crazy? Maybe it's not so crazy if you understand technical analysis. You have seeing eyeballs. It's not so crazy that you would stop right in the area that you stopped before. But you continued going forward, and this was a more significant area anyways. It looks more significant, right? You didn't stop here. You didn't stop here. You didn't stop somewhere that didn't make sense. You stopped somewhere that made complete sense, which was the base of your initial drop right here where you found support. You tipped it for resistance, okay? All I'm offering is the notion that maybe you do the same thing here. Maybe you go up to here. Maybe you find resistance. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Maybe you find resistance right here. But let's give it a range, because I normally just talk about this being the area that we're going to stop at, because I very much do believe we're going to go to 50283, something like that. Is that 5 zeros? Yeah, 50283. somewhere around this low. I don't think that we're going to see the wicking low, but let's give it a range. Let's do that, okay? And now we'll take the bull flag, not from the low, from the low of the flagpole. Okay, let's be fair. This is how you do it, right? Bull flag measure move. You take the low to high. You put it at the base of the flag. Now, I'm going to assume that this base is probably going to go a little bit lower. So let's drop it down a little bit. You know, even if I drop it down a little bit, which this is not confirmed yet, it's very possible that XCN versus Bitcoin could could have found its low. It could be very near its low. It doesn't have to go as low as I'm making it out to be. But even if I bring it down a good little bit here, that's still at the lower ends of this range, right? Your measure move as of now, right where we are in the price, that would take us up to the higher ends of this range. So if we found a low, if we haven't, this is a good area. But again, measure moves are not guaranteed. Hold on. Measure moves are not guaranteed. They're just ideas. They're ideas. They don't have to happen. But with a measure move, you can stop just above them, just below them. So are either of these lines going to be met? Maybe precisely they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's a little bit higher. Maybe it's a little bit lower. So don't hate me if it's off by a little bit. We're doing estimating. Estimating is not perfect, but if it is, I'm still not going to celebrate as if I'm perfect. I'm just going to be like, okay, cool, we got that one right. That's nice. Google calculator here, okay? We're going to measure this price, the lower price right here of the measure move, which I think is a fair assessment to make, right? I think that we are going to drop, and let's just see. Let's compare this real quick and see if it makes sense. Hold on, because I think XCN will drop somewhere around 008, right? 0084, 0087. Let's just do 0084. Let's make it low. Let's be super pessimistic here, right? Something like that. That's a 25% drop from here. I expect the average coin to do a 20 to 30% drop. So even if XCN goes up, likely it would be lesser of a low than this. We'd be at a higher price, but let's just assume we're at 0084. Why? Because low to high here, that's where our golden ratio is, right there. 1618. Right there, okay? 25%. Let's see if we can make sense out of that with the XCN BTC chart. If I think Bitcoin's going to go down, and I do, I think it's going to go down to, you know, probably prices that are at all the way down to 73K, 72K, 71K. Let's go like right here, just right at 72K. That's an 18% drop, okay? And this is why, again, I think that XCN will drop more than Bitcoin, like most cryptos do. And if it pumps higher and it were to double this, it were to see like a 36% drop, that would help make more sense. But I don't think that we go below this level, okay? It's just sticking with that, okay? 25% drop. If XCN or if Bitcoin drops 18%, 25% would then imply a 7% added drop, essentially. Not perfect, but that's essentially, I'm cheating there, but that's essentially how you would do it. 7% extra, a 7% drop here. It'd be just, oh, that's not right at the area there. It would be just below this low. Okay, so whenever I say we could go just below this low, I mean that, right? We might even be at the low versus Bitcoin. It's hard to say, but we'll see. Time will tell. So something just below that low makes sense if we are to see this kind of drop right now and Bitcoin drops to where I think it's going to drop. I'm just making sense out of everything so that there's no holes, hopefully. There could be a bunch of holes that I'm not seeing. Let me know about your holes in the comments, please. Let's do the math here. Man, my throat it's getting a hole in it right now. Okay. So the first price at the low end here is 50s20650. Sorry, guys. 50s20650. Hold on, we're gonna try this one more time. Okay, I got loud on that one. Yeah, that's the right price. So if we do this price versus Bitcoin, and we were to give Bitcoin its current price right now, which I think we can all agree that when XCN moves up, whenever it does move up to this next target, that's going to be probably when the rest of the market's moving up. Bitcoin won't be at this price. It'll be at a higher price, right? I think we can all agree with that. But let's put it at this price. Let's just see what this is. This is absurdly pessimistic, right? There's no way you could doubt that it's absurdly pessimistic. That gives us an 18-cent price, okay? Okay, all-time highs are absurdly pessimistic. Let's just, all right? Is that fair? Am I being fair? I think I'm being fair. And it sounds crazy. It might sound crazy, but the more that you look at it, the less crazy it sounds, because it makes absolute sense on this bull flag, measure move and all. This is where we would go with the drop ensuing, with Bitcoin's drop ensuing, going a little bit lower. Let's say that I'm even wrong and I'm being too optimistic. Maybe we stop at this wicking low. That's not going to be too far away from the all-time highs, especially because Bitcoin won't be at 88K when XCN sees its new high. No, it'll be a lot higher. So where's it going to be? It's going to be a lot higher. Let's go with that, right? I think, and I just made a video talking about Bitcoin where I think it's going to go. It's going to be worth 170K. Let's say XCN tops off before Bitcoin sees 170K. Let's say XCN tops off when Bitcoin's at 110K, right? Something like that. And I do believe it is going to be worth 110K. Whoops, that's 110. There we go. Something like that. At the lower ends of this, right? That's a 22-cent price. Okay, lower ends. Still being conservative, 22-cent price. If we do 150K for Bitcoin, that is a 30-cent price, right? You see what I'm saying, right? 30-cent price. And what was our high end here? Oh, it was 37 and a half. Okay, 37 and a half. Well, that's right in between our range still. Okay, let's go. And we're at the lower ends of the Bitcoin measurement too, right? Let's go all the way up to 173K. 174K is where I think it's going to be. Let's say XCN tops off at the exact same time as Bitcoin, which I don't expect. It'll either be just before or just after. So this is probably not going to happen. But that's a 36-cent price. Okay, 36 cent. Now, let's take the higher number, 502383, and it might not seem that significant, but it is. 502383, 0.12345, 2383. Let's say we stop, and this is personally where I think we will stop, is this area here. Less so this line, more so this line, or somewhere around there. That's my thoughts. Okay, let's multiply it by the current price again, 88,000. That gives us, instead of an 18-cent price, something that's about 21 cents. Okay, and that's pessimistic. That's absurdly pessimistic, because Bitcoin's not going to be at 88K when XCN moves up to its next highs. But even if it is, guess what, guys? We're seeing crazy growth, is what I'm saying here, right? But I doubt that's what happens. Bitcoin probably pumps. Let's say Bitcoin's at 120K, right? Bitcoin's at 120. That's a 28-cent price. Let's say Bitcoin's at 150K. 150K is a 35-cent price. Is this all prices that are in our area? Yes. Every single one of these prices are in our area that we predetermined before, using fibs, all strictly fibs, using things that made sense, all before we even did these calculations. Isn't it funny how they come in line together with the XCN BTC price, the XCN USD price, right? When you have predictions on the USD alone and then you compare it to Bitcoin, if they don't line up, you're doing your analysis wrong, probably, right? To some degree. Just because they do line up doesn't mean you're doing it right, but more likely than not, you have a better chance of being right. Let's just say that. Let's go to 170K, which again, I doubt that XCN will be at its highs when Bitcoin's at its highs, but $173,000, right? 174, wasn't that what I was saying? 174, right? By the end of May, by the end of June, 41-cent price, which is the only time, this is the only time where I took the most bullish outcome versus XCN versus BTC, the most bullish outcome that I could see on Bitcoin's price itself, and I compared them together. That's the only time, the most bullish instance, that we exceeded this range. Are we going to hit 41 cents? Probably not. Probably not. Are we going to hit 20 cents? I hope you can answer that yourself. I've got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button. Don't hit the sell button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.